Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Linda.
It's a beautiful day, kind of foggy, kind of mystical out there. It's really very cozy. So welcome. So for our gathering music, please stand in body or spirit as we sing our gathering hymn. In your teal hymnal, There's a River Flowing in My Soul, number 1007. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't worship in one specific way each week, and we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief, but rather we're a covenant community committed to loving and supporting each other in our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of personal faith. So whoever you are, member, guest, or friend, and for whatever reason or purpose guided you here to join us today, whether in person or online, we welcome you. So my name is Linda Seligman, and I'm the worship coordinator for today's service. Our theme this month is Living Love Through the Practice of Story. It is a lay-led congregation. There are many, many, many contributors, many who are behind the scenes, who make these services possible. And we give a big thank you to everyone who does this wonderful work. And before we create our time for worship, let's take a moment to share some really important announcements. You have announcements on the other side of your order of service. And are there any other announcements that need to be stated at this time?
Hey, I'm Shauna Saunders. Secret Pal starts today. All of the 7 kids who wanted a Secret Pal have a Secret Pal bag hanging outside the RE room. And I just wanted to remind kids, in a box next to the door is an envelope with your name and Secret Pal. So give your Secret Pal a message too.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hi y'all, I'm Amy.
second meeting, which is required, is gonna take place in the library directly after service. The library is the room behind the kitchen, end of the hall, to the left. Come and see me, it'll be fun.
And there's food.
And there's food.
Yay!
Okay, anything else? Okay, so I'd just like to point out this is a very good time to silence your cell phone, put it on what we affectionately call worship mode. And we will enjoy coffee and tea in the service in the little library, I believe. Is that correct? No, just still here, okay, here in the sanctuary. And we'll have some snacks too, and we can get to know each other. If there are no more announcements, then we will continue on. We'll begin with our chalice lighting. And this is called Remembering the Legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King by Ade Ama Baba. Spirit of life, we have come here today to remember what some are intent on making us forget. To remember a man who fought to end segregation. To remember a man who marched to counter prejudice and oppression. To remember a man who was filled with peace and hope. To remember a man with promise and a dream. To remember a man with a voice that rang out for justice and freedom. All these things we remember and honor in the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and a life well lived in service to all. May it be so. And I want to welcome and briefly introduce you to a warm, compassionate, funny, and very smart chaplain friend, Reverend Derek Justice. And I'll be telling you more about him before his sermon today. But before we do that, we're going to have our opening reading.
Good morning.
Good morning.
These are the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from Beyond Vietnam. A genuine revolution of values means in the final analysis that our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Every nation must now develop an overriding loyalty to humankind as a whole in order to preserve the best in their individual societies. This call for a worldwide fellowship that lifts neighborly concern beyond one's tribe, race, class, and nation is in reality a call for an all-embracing and unconditional love for all humankind. Amen. If you'll look at the person beside you and say, I do love you.
And I love you. Now please rise and body your spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and that's number 149 in your gray handout. 149.
Amen.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week amongst our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent, and here we make room for both. And if you would like to speak with somebody on our care team, you can contact Patty O'Connor. She's right there. Thank you, Patty, for all that you do. And for those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. Precious silence. So now please come forward, tell us your name, and share what is in your heart. And when you're finished, you may release one of those glass stones into the vase on the altar. And for those of you who are joining us online, and if you'd like to share your joys or concerns with us, please put it in the chat and tell us if you would like us to read it out loud for you, and we'll drop a stone for you. So For those of you who would prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come up to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Aviva plays Dark of Winter. After she plays it through one time, you're all invited to join in singing this meditation song, and the words are printed in your order of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken, and by remaining silent for a moment, let us consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Let us close with Amen and blessed be. Amen and blessed be. And now let's get an update from our RE folks. Let's hear what you're learning and doing in RE. Religious education. Exploration.
Hi, today for the 4th through 6th graders who have registered for OWL, we will be having our orientation meeting out in the yurt. And for elementary students any age, there will be doing stuff in the RE classroom, focusing on the Sacred Journeys curriculum, which is just kind of an introduction to UU values.
Great, thank you. Now let's sing our beloved children to class with a children's blessing, which is located in the back cover of your grade handout. Now it's my honor to welcome my chaplain friend, Reverend Derek Justice. I know him from Rex Hospital, and that's where I know he's a funny guy. Reverend Derek Justice was born in Durham, North Carolina, attended school in Virginia, and has a BA in English And then he went to NC State University in Raleigh, and he earned a Master of Science in Technical Communication. His professional career began as a technical writer and marketing engineer in corporate America. About 20 years ago, he felt called to serve the Lord, walked away from his secular career, and entered seminary at Duke University. While there, he received many awards, including the Distinguished Cooperative Baptist Fellowship Award, affording the opportunity to travel and intern with notable pastors, leaders, and scholars. And as the top student of his class, he was awarded the Jameson Jones Preaching Award. He graduated from the Divinity School with a Master of Divinity degree, and after many years of teaching as an instructor of religion and philosophy at Johnson Community College in Smithfield, and as an English professor at Shaw University, Pastor Justice was then called to serve as pastor of the Lillington Star FWB Church, where he continues to serve as senior pastor. He matriculated with United Theological Seminary and received his doctorate in ministry. Reverend Derek Justice started serving as a clinical chaplain and now is a medical chaplain resident with UNC Rex Hospital in Raleigh, where he ministers to many different races and peoples and groups. It's quite an education just in and of itself. This past summer, Derek married Aretha. She's a lovely person. He has 2 grown sons, and together their family has 4 highly successful children and 4 beautiful grandchildren. And with this, come on up.
To you. Thank you. It did say that I preach. Try to be here this morning, so, and I hope not to hold you very long. Okay, so.
Know your audience.
I promise not to do that. Well, thank you for having me today. And thank you to my dear friend, Chaplain Linda. She is a sweet and dear friend. We have worked together for over a year, and just a truly genuine person. And so I was honored when she asked me to come, and I welcome the opportunity. And I hope I have something worthwhile and interesting to say. I hope I can shed some light on this topic, this person that we're honoring here today, Martin Luther King Jr. So much has been said, you've heard so much, you've seen so much, and so I don't know how formidable a task it will be, but I'll try to offer something that you'll walk away with and something that will stick with you for a while. Is that all right? Allow that ability to try that.
Yes, yes.
Amen. Thank you so much. And then again, let me introduce my wife of about 4 months now. 6 months. Women seem to know those things. Amen. Well, let's get right to the task at hand. I would like to say a few words from the book of Ezekiel. That's one of the books of the Old Testament. And it is one of the books that we call a prophetic book. And the reason why I want to start there is I think it will shed some light in trying to understand this man who spoke to the nation some years ago now, but still has an impact on who we are as a people and as a country. And so I will lift up a few words from there, and then I'll try to connect that to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so if you'll just bear with me for a second, what I'll be lifting up from the 24th chapter of Ezekiel, verses 15 through 27. I won't necessarily read all of them, but I'll read the first part and I'll have a skip in it, then I'll read the last part. And then I hope to tie it together, and I hope that it makes some type of sense to you. But from the 24th chapter of Ezekiel, starting at verse 15, this is what it says. It says, "The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, with one blow I am about to take away from you the delight of your eyes. Yet do not lament or weep or shed any tears. Groan quietly. Do not mourn for the dead. Keep your turban fastened and your sandals on your feet. Do not cover the lower part of your face or eat the customary food of mourners." Verse 18. "So I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. The next morning I did as I had been commanded. Then the people asked me, 'Won't you tell us what these things have to do with us?'" And then verse 25. "And you, son of man, on the day I take away your stronghold, their joy and glory, the delight of their eyes, their heart's desire, and their sons and daughters as well. On that day, a fugitive will come to tell you the news. At that time, your mouth will be open. You will speak with him and will no longer be silent. So you will be a sign to them, and they will know that I am the Lord." And so for a theme, I will use the words sold out, sold out. This is a look at the person of Ezekiel, the prophet Ezekiel, which is an Old Testament prophet. And we're looking at him in a different, slightly different light. We're looking at Ezekiel in his personal life. We're looking at him at home when the service is over, when all of the guests have gone, when all of the visitors have returned, and he is now sitting at home. And while he's sitting at home, this is when God chooses to speak to him. And so God tells him that with one blow, I'm going to strike and I'm going to take away the delight of your eyes. Now, what's interesting about this is that we get to see a person who has a public persona, but we now see God working with him in a private capacity. And in the private capacity, what we notice is that Ezekiel is not any different than he is in his public image. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, most of us can agree somewhat that that many people are one way in public, but they're a different way at home. The difference is, in that is that when you're really, really sold out for a cause, for a belief, for a faith, then you should be the same way in private that you are in public. Now, if you're not sold out, that's when we get contradictions in that you'll say one thing in public, then when you get in private, you may do something completely different. Does that make sense to most people? Yeah. And so in private, what we see is that Ezekiel is sold out to God, to where God can tell him he's going to do something absolutely drastic, something that seems insane, and yet Ezekiel is okay with it. He accepts it. And so when we look at Ezekiel from this light, we'll see that the person, Martin Luther King Jr., who we come here to honor today, was very much the same way. And we know his public persona in that he preached to people on Sundays, and he had a very active spiritual life. But in private, I think he was the same way, because he could have sat home and been comfortable in his ecclesiastical role, in his church persona, but he was persistent in fighting for justice anywhere that he found injustice. God could use him to send him anywhere to speak to any kind of injustice that he found. And I think the words that Martin Luther King Jr. would use is that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so because of that, his passion took him, his belief, his convictions took him when he could have been comfortable, but it took him and made him go to all places all over the land. But the thing about being sold out is that you never know what God is going to ask you to do. When you're sold out to God, God can ask you and present you with anything, and he can trust you to do it. That's one of the difficult things about being sold out, about being committed to God, is that God thinks so much bigger than we are. He thinks so much differently than we think. And he can ask us to do things that are risky and that takes an awesome amount of courage in which to carry out. Can you imagine sitting inside of a Birmingham jail, sweltering in heat, not for something you did, but for something your convictions told you to go and fight? Martin Luther King was sent and would often be put in jail because of what he believed was right and what God said was wrong. And oftentimes when he would go, you know the story like I do, the people would be beaten, the people would be water holes, they would be attacked with dogs, and yet he was doing what he believed God had sent him to do. That's what we call being sold out. Sold out is that thing when you believe something to the point that you no longer have any kind of inhibitions about doing it. You will do it because something down in your soul won't let you rest. Something down in your soul stirs so much that you can't help but do what you feel led to do. And so when we look at the life of Martin Luther King, we can also see that in the life of the prophet Ezekiel. The Lord called Ezekiel from his little hometown and his little village, and he would send him out into a world to say, "Thus saith the Lord." And it's not like the people were welcoming what he said. The people couldn't stand what he said. And yet he had so much conviction that he would go say it anyhow. Martin Luther King would have to leave the comfortable confines of Atlanta to go to places like Birmingham and Louisiana and Georgia when they didn't have a welcoming sign and say, "Come on in, we're glad you're here." No, they would try to kill him and bomb him when he came. That's what it means to be sold out. And that is what helps us to understand what's here before us today. Can you imagine God speaking to a prophet and saying, with one blow, I'm going to take away the delight of your eyes? And Ezekiel didn't raise a fuss. And the thing I started noticing about that is that when God says, I'm going to take away the delight of your eyes, he's taking away what pleased Ezekiel. Put another way, it said men are visual. You can put something really pretty in front of a man and he'll act just like a little boy. Suit on, tie on, necktie, and yet put a little pretty and they'll try to be cute and witty. I've often heard women ask men, "Why are you wearing that to work today?" And sometimes it's because there's something pretty that they want to try to impress. And so when we understand that God takes something that pleased Ezekiel, what he's doing, he's taking away something that he looks at in order to wake up something that stirs his faith. When God really wants to move you, God will take away what you find pleasing to your eyes so that he can stir your faith. When God really wants to move a people, when God really wants to get somebody to do something magnificent, he'll take something away from him that disturbs him so that he has to leave where he is. We can never grab a hold of what the Lord wants to do until we let go of something that we want to do. We can never accomplish what God has for us until we can let go of the things that we want to accomplish for ourselves. And so the Lord took away Ezekiel's delight in his eyes, and it enabled him to see something deeper. And so many people will wonder, how can a man speak to a nation with such powerful words that moves? And the reason is because somewhere God took something from the preacher that so disturbed him and so moved him that he could then look at a nation and say, I have a dream that one day this nation would rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. I have a dream that one day people will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And those words should ring true today, because I think Martin Luther King would be troubled by the fact that there was a time when people convicted of a felony couldn't own a gun, couldn't serve in the military. And now we voted somebody in who will be over the military. I think Martin Luther King would have something to say about that. I think he would be disturbed by that.
Yes.
And I think he would speak out about that.
Amen.
Yes.
God has to usually take something away in order to wake up something that makes us speak out. How can a man say, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land? Not the way America was, but what he believed America would be. Despite what was going on in Georgia and Louisiana, despite what was going on in Alabama, in Mississippi, he said, I see the promised land. And he had enough faith to say, I might not get there with you, but I want you to know that today as a people, we will make it to the promised land. God took something away in order to wake something up. When people are sold out, they'll speak out. They won't sit and be silent. They'll speak to what they see is wrong. There is a mountaintop called faith. And you don't get there by holding on to what you think you know. You get there by holding on to a faith that is so deep inside that you know there has to be something better. You know that there has to be a better plan. That's called faith, and it's a mountaintop called faith. We've lost something in America, it seems. But don't let that make you not say something. Make that let you strive for what your convictions tell you it should be. Let that make you strive for something better according to our better nature. Let that make you strive for the goodness that resides in all of us. Regardless of creed, regardless of ideologies, there's something inside of all of us that loves humanity more than sitting by and not saying nothing and letting evil and wicked have its way. The Lord told Ezekiel, with one blow, I'll strike and take away the beauty that you see with your eyes. But when God took that away, he opened up his faith. And what's interesting about the last verse, it says that when a fugitive comes to you, a fugitive is somebody who's running from justice. I don't know about you. Well, I think we got somebody running from justice. Can I get an amen, somebody? I think we got somebody who's running from justice, who tomorrow we all got to stand and watch. Be put into office over the greatest nation in the world. Don't be silent. Don't be silent. If you're sold out, let your belief and your convictions speak out. Because if you don't speak out, it'll just keep on keeping on. But when those who have any kind of faith, when those who have any kind of awakening down in their soul, let that be what you need to rise to the mountaintop of faith and speak across the valleys. We are better than this. We are greater than this. We've been through too much to settle for this. We've gone through too much hell and high water to let this stay like it is. I don't know, am I in the right place?
Yes.
Are there people in here? You've had to fight too hard, work too long, struggle to believe too much, to sit back and let something go to hell in a handbasket? Go to the highest bidder? Go to a select few? No, this is all of our country. This is all of our land. And I believe the one we honor today would have something to say about it. But what did the Lord say? I'll take away something from you so that it can be a sign to the rest of the world. When something is taken away, it's so that something else can be awakened. I pray that your faith is awakened so that you can speak out when you see wrong. Give the Lord a hand clap of praise with you.
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but I've got stuff stirring in here right now. Ugh, yes, thank you. I needed that, actually. I needed that, especially coming up on tomorrow's Saturday. I needed that. So, for our offertory, which will be happening now, at this time each Sunday, we take up a monetary offering which supports our social justice work in our Orange County communities. And this month, our plate offering goes to the animal advocacy. Our donation will be split between the Piedmont Farm Animal Refuge and the Blind Spot Animal Sanctuary. So please donate by placing cash or checks in the offering basket, and if by check, please write plate in the memo, or you could go into our website and click the donate button, or you could use the order of service. Thank you, Aviva. It was amazing. Please join me in our prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received. Let's be truly grateful. And please rise and bow to your spirit as we sing our closing hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere. That's number 95 in your gray hymnal.
Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. Amen.
Amen. Now please join me as we extinguish our sacred UU flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.